What is the dumbest thing you've bought on an Instagram ad, Facebook ad, whatever? I just bought that jaw thing.
I bought that.
Did you?
I already had that.
Well, look at your jawline though, dude.
I honestly,
you're so handsome and young looking.
I heard this cool story about some gold miners back in the day. Somebody asked this guy who got rich during the gold rush.
But like,
I feel like that's the coolest thing to ever own though. Like a t-shirt company. How cool is that?
Oh man, I love t-shirts.
I tell people all the time I eat 6 eggs a day. I can guzzle 6 eggs a day. Like I could eat probably 12 eggs a day, man.
You are a guzzler.
Yeah.
That's your Achilles heel and your G spot all at once. Depends what side you rub, what side you flick.
I swear it's something in my brain, like there's a brain chemical or something that's changed. I'm like, hard.
I mean, I don't know. I'm no scientist, but I'm going to say my bro science tells me yes. Oh, man. This has been an outstanding episode. Yo.
Hey.
Let's rock, man. New setup, new digs.
Yeah, we got the coffee table finally is back.
Yeah.
Back in action.
I love it. Look, I already spilled on it.
It's all good. That's the good stuff.
Well, yeah, I guess the coffee table is repurposed. You built me this as a gift.
Yes.
Like before you were the co-host.
Yeah.
You came on, you brought this, and we used to keep that in the middle of the tire, but the tire definitely wouldn't fit in the new studio.
No.
This looks perfect though, bro. I love it.
It's perfect. It's actually like a nice size for this area too, so this is good. And I mean, it's quick way to get a coffee table up here, but it fits the vibe in here real well. So if you guys can see it, it looks good.
I think they can see it. I think they can. Colt's behind the camera, my boy, right? He's set up the camera today, so we're really working on improving like the technical side of stuff. I hope you guys noticed we got a new video editor, and he's been awesome to work with.
Yeah,
just a breath of fresh air on the podcast, I think, and it's been cool, man. It's fun. We're doing when we do these double setup, we set up the studio a little bit differently. And I was saying to you right before we came on camera, is the one thing we used to do, like I used to do shots and stuff with the guests. It made it like carrying a conversation with two people a lot easier, probably. But I think with you, I'll have no problem at all.
No, it's funny because the first time you ever brought me on to the podcast at the old gym, you were like, "What drink do you like?" And I was like, "I think I told you vodka." So we were just drinking vodka in a drink doing a podcast. That's hilarious.
This explains why I had to quit drinking, because never in my life, like people are always like, "Well, what do you mix that with?" I'm like,
water.
Ice or nothing.
Yeah.
That's how I drank all my booze. Ice or nothing. I remember we were drinking like grapefruit vodka from, weirdly enough, Wolfhead, who owns this place, and there's like a bunch of bottles over there. The gift that Tom gave me when we moved in.
Yeah, I can
shout out
see,
Wolfhead.
So funny, man.
Yeah, man. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious. So let's get rolling today. Welcome everybody to Tango1 Podcast. You guys know us by now. Mike is officially in. We shoot this show every Wednesday pretty much, and try to air it every Monday. A little bit behind this week, but we were coming off a couple of what I think are great episodes. Last one of the macro foods, dude.
Yeah. Omar killed it. That conversation was so good.
Bro, that conversation was so good. And then you kept going for like 30 minutes. I was trying to get out on the the gym floor, because you guys were just so much good content that we didn't even tape.
I know. The conversation was so good. There's so much value in that one too, I find. And I still feel like I have a whole ton of questions for him that I didn't even have the chance to ask him. So
really,
you have to have him back on here.
I'm noticing that you seem a lot more like engaged in the podcast since we kind of like, I feel like you caught the bug that I always talk about. You come in, you have these adult conversations with successful people, or people who have, and the best part I think about our guests is they're all successful people who have overcome obstacles for the most part.
Yeah.
And it's like you leave here with this knowledge where it's like, who gives it? I don't care if one person watches this recording. Like, I got value out of it, right? Yeah,
yeah,
right?
yeah. It's for me now. Yeah,
yeah. You came in like geek. You're like 45 minutes early to the shoot today. Like you got the vibe, eh? You got the bug.
Like, let's go. Yeah,
the podcast bug.
Yeah, the podcast bug. I like that. The little critter.
Mike even made us. Danny taught him how to make Americanos. We got some.
That's dangerous now.
What's the recipe here, Mike?
Water, coffee beans. Super easy. Who would have thought it?
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
All right, so we got Q&A coming from the guests today. We're going to talk about a few more things. We were going to get into, I did have a question today that came to me while I was, of all places, on the toilet.
Nice. Right? That's where the best ideas are had, actually.
Morning wood, right? The morning wood is, I'm like flipping through Instagram and I'm watching. These guys market hard, man. Like, I clicked on this t-shirt thing, and I'm all about these t-shirts. Me and my t-shirts, right?
Yeah.
So I'm all over this t-shirt website. Well, to get 30% off, I now give my phone number. And then now these guys are texting me like shirts I'm interested in. So I'm sitting on the toilet and I'm like surfing the things. But my question for you was, what is the dumbest thing you've bought on an Instagram ad, Facebook ad, whatever? You got any? Man. I just bought that jaw thing. We'll see if I don't know if it's dumb. I've heard it's awesome. I'm getting old. I want to keep my jawline. I just bought that.
I bought that. I already had that.
Well, look at your jawline though, dude. Honestly, you're so handsome and young looking. Just like the Brad Pitt videos they're showing me.
I actually, it's all Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt sold it. So I don't know. I actually don't know if it's from that or if it's from just like diet changes in my life, or probably a mix of both. But like, yeah, my jawline is different. I don't use it all the time. I don't even know where they are now.
I'm like just staring into your eyes now where you're explaining this story.
Yeah, you've seen that chiseled jawline?
Yeah, it is a chiseled jawline.
Yeah. But I definitely bought that. Shirts. I mean, shirts are dumb, but like I get geeked on shirts, just like you said. Like this shirt that you're wearing right now is amazing.
Oh, dude, this thing, I love this shirt. It's one of my favorites. So this is, have you seen the movie Man on Fire with Denzel Washington?
Maybe. No, probably not. I'm not good with movies.
You need to watch this tonight. You want to talk about a movie that gets you pumped up?
Okay.
So Denzel Washington in that movie is like, I don't know, he's like a retired, some kind of special ops military guy, takes a security job in Mexico. And the girl he's protecting, this little girl, like a 6-7-year-old girl, calls him Creasy Bear or Greasy Bear. So this shirt is the Greasy Bear, Creasy Bear, I think it is, Creasy, like with a CR.
Okay.
That's his like last name.
Okay.
And that's what she calls him. So this is the Creasy Bear shirt. I had to buy it because that is one of my favorite movies to get pumped. It's about just this man who brings hell upon all these people who hurt him.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Oh, that sounds like a great
Gotta watch this movie.
Yeah. That's amazing. This shirt's awesome. It fits good too. Like with t-shirts, you have to have the good fit.
Yeah, for sure. The good fit. I'm like a big fan of the like how it feels too. Yeah. I don't like the like overly tight, overly synthetic. Like I like a good cotton blend.
Yeah, the good cotton blend. The finer things in life, cotton blend.
But like
it's one of those things with quality. Like it's hard to buy stuff online with knowing the quality. You can't. You just have to essentially trust or do your research with the reviews and just hope that those people are on the same wavelength as you, and to buy these things online is tough. Or what I've done in the past, like with pants and stuff, like buy a pair that I like or buy a pair that I think would fit, get them in the mail, put them on. If I like them, I like the way they feel, I'll buy a few of them because that's the way that you have to do that online.
Yeah, once you get like the shirt you like, just order them up, baby.
Oh, so the cheat code for guys, I swear the cheat code, I mean, for me, my cheat code was there was a time in my life where I was like, I'm over all these mismatched socks. I got holes in some of them. I got boxers where I got holes in them. I'm like, I need to like completely refresh this. But there was one year I found like a supplier of socks, and I bought like 50 packs. And I was like, no matter what happens, they're all going to match each other, so I don't have to spend time in the morning looking for them. And then when eventually either my dog ate them all or whatever the case was, I was able to just buy more of this exact same pair. So like all the new socks match the old socks. I don't know, little cheat code. But I did the same thing with shoes. I did the same thing with boxers, everything. Now I have like 1,000 pairs of boxers. I'm all good. Like if I'm a little bit behind on laundry, just grab another pair. 1,000 pairs of socks. Like 10 pairs of Vans. Like I don't sit there and buy one pair of shoes now. I'll buy like 10 pairs and not have to buy them again for 2 years.
You're always a Vans guy. Hey, I
love my Vans.
Always rocking Vans.
They're like, Vans. I mean, these are my Vans work boots. Actually, these are my work boot Vans.
I'm like a split. I got probably half Vans, half Nikes.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of Nikes. Although I gotta say, like, comfort wise, Vans kills the Nikes.
Really?
Yeah. Like I just find that all the Nike shoes are just a little too narrow in my like across the knuckles of my feet, if that's a thing.
I mean, they are in Vans too. Like I literally, my pinky toe busts out the side. Like I need to have Vans like that because I'll wear them until they're gone. Like until they fall off my feet. Like, so I have to have like good pairs or I have to sit there and wait for them to come in the mail. So I just buy them all at once.
Yeah, man. You know what? Going back to the movies too, like one of the things that I came across this week, as I'm telling you to watch that movie because I'm thinking about it right now. I'm like thinking about, how the guy just goes around and kills these people.
Yeah.
Right? Anyways, is that I'm at this fine line with like these movies I really want to watch with my sons, but I don't know that they're appropriate yet.
Yeah.
It's like we're in this middle zone of like the kid movies are kid movies, and the older movies might be too older. So we watch like some of the movies we pull up. I'm like, I want to watch Gladiator with them, right? I want to watch like 300.
Yeah.
But like, oh, it's pretty gruesome.
Yeah,
it's pretty
gruesome. You're on the border, especially because you got like, because Braun's younger too. So
right, Braun is like scared of all that shit. Funny things when we're talking about the hats and everything. My son asked me the great question. We're gonna get into the audience Q&A, but this is a good question from my son. I'm curious to see how you'd answer it.
Okay.
He asked me yesterday in the car. He's like, Dad, if you were to own a store, I mean, you kind of do, like, so you can't use woodworking.
Yeah, okay, can't use it, okay.
Right? I mean, what would you sell?
What would I say?
Right, so you can't say I sell wood, right?
Yeah. So
I wouldn't say that you sell wood, but it is part of what you sell, I guess. No furniture either.
Oh, man. What a crazy thing. I feel like it's tough, but like, and I don't know if this is cheating or not, but like knowing what I know now, I would supply the people that build things. So here's a cool story. So I heard in the gold rush in California back in the day. Is it California? Whatever. During the gold rush days.
Yeah, sometimes we get out of our lane with these history things.
Yeah. We're not historians.
We're like, there's this thing I read about. I'm not sure what it is. Anyways,
I heard this cool story about some gold miners back in the day, and the guy somebody asked this guy who got rich during the gold rush, and you'd want to say that the prospects, the guys that were actually going to find the gold, got rich, but the guy that sold the shovel was the guy that got rich. The guy who sold the tools to the miners is the guy that got rich. He didn't have to go find the gold. He just had to supply the tools.
Right.
So in that, knowing what I know now, even about my own industry, it's not selling wood, but selling like the products and the tools to be able to do what I'm doing, I think would be a good business model. Even if it didn't have to do with woodworking, but like anything that you needed tools and consumables.
That's a good way of looking at it, right? Like finding that need. And, like there's a guy downtown. I actually played football with him back in the day. Mark Broad. Anyways, and he on Olette Avenue, like when all the bars, especially back in the day when they were like all jumping, they all needed this shit. Like think about like the cup that you drink like Red Bull and vodka shots out of, like the double cup thing.
Yeah,
it's got the cup within the cup.
Over the
yeah.
The bar place downtown. Yeah.
That's what he opened up, and what a genius idea. Like, and the whole bar industry went there, right? And he was a bartender too. Like, I believe when he opened it. So it's like you're like, oh man, we need all this stuff. We're going to get it. And that was before Amazon too, right? So
yeah. And
hopefully people are still like sticking to that kind of like
it's still there.
Support
He's still
local.
Downtown.
That's sick, right? That's such a great idea.
Yeah, he's such supplying the tools to the people that are out there making the bread. Like,
well, paying what I pay for these barbells, I think I would build barbells. But I said like the typical. I said t-shirts, sports equipment, and hats. I would love like one of those. But like,
I feel like that's the coolest thing to ever own, though. Like a t-shirt company. How cool is that?
Oh man, I love t-shirts.
Like, because with a t-shirt company, you're literally selling culture. Like that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm gonna buy this shirt because I'm like one of these guys that would buy this shirt, And like everybody else in the world needs to know I'm one of these guys because I wear this shirt.
Yeah.
Like you got a teddy bear with a shotgun and a rocket launcher. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man. Yeah.
That guy probably has guns. Like it's like you fit. It's like something that like it's an identity thing.
Yeah, like I get a kick out of seeing people wearing garage gym shirts. We got them everywhere, right? But like what I really love is like the personal brand shirts that have all been like kind of limited edition. The aggressive, you had it on last week, the aggressively masculine t-shirt.
Yeah.
The what's the other one? Oh, the FJT t-shirt.
Yeah.
Forget Mr. Trudeau.
Forget him.
Yeah. FJT.
Yeah.
Anyways, those t-shirts, man, I love when I see those t-shirts on. I've always like, I would love to have a t-shirt like kind of hit big, but it's also like, how the hell do you market that? People are asking for these shirts. You're like, how many more do I print? How do I get them to these guys? It's like a lot goes into that.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. I mean, it would be fun. It would be really fun to do it, I think. Because like I said, it's just like, how much fun can we have? And how many people want to show the rest of the world that they're also having fun with the same thing kind of thing. Yeah. That's awesome. That's
amazing. Downtown this week, I went to Detroit for the NFL draft stuff.
I saw that.
Phenomenal.
It looked awesome, yeah.
What a show. It was all free. Everything we did, obviously the food's not free, but everything we did down there was free. Even like, of course the waters were like $10-12. You couldn't bring outside water in, but like you buy one and they had refill stations. Like it was amazing. And then Windsor, I gotta shout out Windsor, man. I did a little bit of a story on it. The city of Windsor put on an NFL draft party in downtown Windsor. And all the NFL guys came down, like friends of the podcast. Luke Wilson, a guy I played with, Brett Romberg, who's him and I go way back. We played together, great friends. He was down, and these guys signed autographs for these kids for must have been 5 straight hours. The coolest thing though, right when they start the autograph and right when they finish the speeches, my buddy Romberg gave this speech. They put the big screen on. They had the draft going, and a Windsor kid gets drafted to the NFL. Like, to sort of think, like, our little city, like, right there at that table, we had 6 guys who played in the NFL, and are signing autographs. We get another guy drafted. It just doesn't, it was awesome. It was just, like, a super prideful day for, like, the football community. I know you're not a sports guy, but the football community in Windsor in particular, we're really close. It's a small group of people. Very few people play football. Lots play hockey and baseball. Very few play football, so it's like awesome to see like the guys right from the NFL right to like me coaching Windsor Minor to my sons who were like 8 years old playing just all in one like big park and hanging out. It was sweet.
So crazy.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on with this. Oh, first though, I want to ask you, like, you've been posting this story with this table.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? What is this? This is one of the biggest projects you ever tackled or coolest?
No, it's not one of the biggest projects, but it is definitely a big one. Yeah, it's a pretty sick project because it's super over the top, right? Like we do projects every now and then that are, you can't, even the thing that we built for you in the basement, like you can't not notice that when you're in that space with these pieces that we build. Like, so back in the day, we used to call them elephant in the room projects, and the elephant in the room is something you can't ignore essentially, right? So when we build these pieces that are so over the top, you have to notice it. You have to talk about it. You have, like, your friends come in, they're like, what is that? Like, what is this thing? So this conference table, it's a desk. Our client sells semi trucks, so he's got it's a huge office. The conference table is 11 foot by 4 foot. Not the biggest table we've ever built, but it's very calculated, I'll say. Like, it's very thought out. So we got a giant live edge slab. It was a 13 foot black walnut, 40 inches wide, super big slab. We cast it in clear epoxy. It's a giant oval. And we actually have a fifth wheel of a semi truck, like the smallest fifth wheel I've ever seen, but it's actually coming through the tabletop. And you're going to be able to see, like, the fifth wheel is going to be flush with the tabletop. So it's going to be black walnut, clear epoxy, and a fifth wheel. That is the tabletop. So that in itself has been such a challenge because that tabletop is maybe 600 pounds. Like 4 guys, when I posted that story of us getting it in the truck the other day, that was really hard to do. Like, we were struggling moving that thing because it's big, it's slippery because it's epoxy. Like, there's nothing to grab and it's heavy, right? So along that, there's this giant like horseshoe shaped desk, and it's one solid piece. There's 3 walnut slabs in it, and it's cast in clear epoxy. It's just this guy's office is going to be insane. One of a kind for sure, but this is the stuff that we're good at. Like, you don't call us for basic stuff and the normal stuff. You call us, well, this is not really basic even. Like this coffee table, like this is custom built. They call it bespoke, so it's bespoke furniture.
Bespoke? Who?
Bespoke.
My bespoke friend.
Yeah. So bespoke means that it was built to serve a specific purpose, right? So it's not like something you go and buy off the shelf. It's just like this table right here that we're sitting at was built for the podcast studio. It's got your logo, my logo in it. It's like it was built to fit inside of a tire. It's bespoke. But now it's a coffee table. But this guy's desk, this conference room / desk for this guy, it's incredible. Like, you're not going to be, people are going to know this guy. Even if they don't know him, they're going to know his office, essentially. If they ever see it one time, they're going to be like, I saw that guy's desk.
Oh, sick.
Because it's that intense. Like, it's going to be amazing, and I can't wait to see the final photos of it. The guys are working on it right now. We're dropping in the fifth wheel today, actually.
Oh, and you're here.
I'm here.
That in itself is an evolution for you.
Oh, man. Yes.
So, cool story about Mike and I, and then we'll finally get into the Q&A, I guess, is that, so where is I going with that? Is that, for this podcast, sorry. It's like we've been talking about doing this together. I wanted Mike to jump on with me. I wasn't enjoying doing it by myself since Casey left. And, Danny, it was hard to commit with the kids and stuff. So, and we talked about so much man stuff. I kind of like wanted, I'm with her a lot, Yeah. Anyway, so I wanted Mike on here, and Mike is like, kept saying, I need to get out of my business. I need to trust the guys to be there. I need to be away for an afternoon. And I'm trying to get out every Wednesday afternoon. I go, well, why don't we lock you in? So this is like a good way, like for me, if we're talking to people, like something to learn from. Like, I've learned this habit, and I pass this on to you on that day, was like, okay, you got to do something. You want to be out of that business. Well, why don't you lock yourself into this podcast that we also want to do?
Yes.
So it's like a double positive. You're forcing yourself out. You can't check in because our phones are off, other than that first episode when your phone rang every 2 seconds. But anyways, your phones are off and you're here doing something else. And then you've also said how you don't like to do cardio. And I'm like, well, it just so happens Wednesday's cardio day. So right after the podcast, it's today's leg day. But like, it's kind of cool. Like that's how this all came about. And it's like, it's now awesome. It's like Wednesday, we don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
Like the more things we can just lock in, it's like, what's that saying? It's, is freedom. Discipline creates freedom.
Yeah.
Right. It's like you would think that discipline is not freedom, but the more disciplined you are, the more freedom you have.
Which is crazy. It's crazy. So I remember that saying there. I remember hearing it years ago
At the Blast camp.
No, like I heard it. So I'll tie it back to that though. So I heard
good.
I heard discipline equals freedom. I think Jocko, so many guys talk about it, and I've always heard it. I heard it, and it's like yeah, sure, whatever. It doesn't really make sense until you experience it. Until you actually get into a zone where you are actually disciplined day in, day out. You're waking up on time. You're getting to the gym. You're eating right. You're crushing it. You're killing it at work. You're killing it at home. You're fit. You're healthy. Your diet's right. You literally experience a different feeling. Your mind is clear. Your body feels lighter. You have more energy. You're more aware of your time. Like we talking about this with 75 hard too. I know you're not a big fan of it, and I'm slowly.
Well, I am.
I'm slowly falling away from it too, man. Because it's whatever. I've done it a bunch of times, but I struggle with it. But 75 hard. I was talking to some guy the other day who was doing it for the first time. I'm like, how much extra free time did you find? And he was like, it's insane. Right. 75 hard, for you guys who don't know, it's like a very disciplined. You got to work out 45 minutes inside, outside. You got to read 10 pages of book. Like it takes up time of your day. And what I found with it over and over again is like I kept finding more time. Somehow I found time to get my first workout done, get the second workout done, read my book, eat my meals, drink all my water, and I still had time to sit around. And I'm like, where did this extra 2 hours of my day come from? Where did it come from? It's freedom. Now I'm like, hey, I did all my stuff. I went to work. I killed the day. I feel good now, and I still have time to sit here and chill. Where did it come from? It's like a time creator. So like that's what you mean when you're talking about discipline equals freedom. That's what that feels like. You have extra time now after you're feeling good about everything. I don't know. And like you reinstilled that at Blast Camp because there's more. There was a bunch of stuff at Blast that you guys taught that kind of tied into all of that.
Right, man. Yeah, I agree completely, and it is that scheduling that like discretionary time is wealth. Yeah. The more discretionary time you have, that's true wealth. Like we can talk about dollar bills. Like I am more, and I said it with you and Paige, I am way more concerned right now about 10xing my time than I am 10xing my bank account. Sure, would I love to 10x my bank account, which wouldn't equal very much. But but like I'm way more concerned about 10xing my time because like to me that is the you can't replace it, right? It's the non-renewable resource. We talk about that all the time on here, and I want people to take most advantage of it. We're doing something right now in the gym, strength squad. We got 6-week transformation going on, which is 6 weeks obviously. Yeah. But my strength squad, which is our small groups at Austin, you ran into Austin as you were leaving?
Yeah.
Austin's running this thing. We're doing a 12-week transformation. So 12 weeks is like 90 days pretty much, right? Yeah. And we're right almost in the middle of it. But by giving one cheat meal, that's our rules. We kind of have one cheat meal per week. The amount of I don't know, it's like letting the pressure out of like the tire just a little bit before it pops. Like,
yeah.
And it's like how much that brings me back. It's like, oh my God, yes. Went out for a nice burger, fries, had myself a 0 beer, and some ice cream later with the kids. And I'm just like, I'm good, man. Like, I'm good. I don't need to, to do this again tomorrow. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. It's awesome.
That's all. Like, so on that point, that I feel like I struggle with that. Before I would be able to do that, right? Because before I started doing 75 hard and stuff, I actually had a lot more like leniency. Like I could kind of go away from it and come right back really quick. I could go out for one cheat meal and then get back on my meals after that. But over the last few years, I feel like if I have one cheat meal, I'm like going nuts for another one right off.
You do feel the urge for sugar immediately, though.
Yeah, well, it's sugar because the sugar's killed.
Like the crack, man.
Yeah, it's a crack. Like,
yeah,
you need it right away.
Yeah.
It's something that but it's not. I don't eat sugar, man. It's like I just like to eat.
Just like to eat.
I just like to eat.
Let me pull this phone up. We don't keep our phones on set very often, but I found this is the only way to really get these questions out. So let me see what we got. So a couple Q&A is awesome. If we don't choose you today, we're going to use some of these with our guests and things going forward. We're going to change just a little bit of the format that we do with our guests. Make it a little bit less interview, make it a little bit about them, and then 30 minutes of us just talking about cool things in the world. Mm-hmm. So here we go. Let's start with an easy one. No, so starting in my area here, health and fitness, but this is very much on yours because you're always talking about nutrition. So we got somebody asking, what is something we should remain unnamed? What's a great source of protein that you might use that's not typical, i.e. beef, chicken, tuna, things like that? You got any?
I mean, like eggs are my main.
Eggs are a staple, bro.
Eggs. Like I tell people all the time I eat 6 eggs a day. I can guzzle 6 eggs a day. Like I could eat probably 12 eggs a day, man.
You are a guzzler.
Yeah. but eggs are my favorite. I mean, that's my favorite protein for sure. Because you can cook it like 10 different ways.
Oh man, the eggs. I have we have a guy in here, Farmer Dan. Shout out Farmer Dan. Nice. This dude drops off 5 dozen eggs for me every Monday morning. So right behind your chair is actually where he stashes them.
Nice.
And that's how many eggs we go through in our house. And sometimes we still find ourselves hitting up the store and grab an extra dozen. Man, I love eggs, and it is such a cheat. For me though, I would say like a non-typical, like something like packed pancakes, which we have out front. A great local business. And man, she's blown up. It's like
I did not know she was local. Really?
Yeah, man. It's Dustin from Blast.
Yeah,
Dustin. That's his wife, Monica.
I did not know that.
She's the sweetest person, and she's on this, and she like every store you walk in, dude. Like she's got her stuff there.
That's what I mean. I didn't even.
It's crazy, right? Like so for me, packed pancakes, like what we say is like it's not an everyday meal. But it is something that is like super high in protein, real quick. My kids love it, and it feels a bit like a cheat meal.
Yeah, it feels like
you have packed pancakes with a couple tablespoons of like real maple syrup.
Nice.
Like man, you're staying on track, and you've got that craving like kind of like taken care of. So I'm a big fan of those, and and most importantly, I think it's good. It's a good healthy option for the kids, so we're not making them,
normal pancakes,
which are just full of like I'm gonna set you off. I can feel like you're like I see your shoulders going up, ready to rage about this. But yeah, man, that's one of my cheats.
Yeah, that sounds
my
amazing.
cheat codes, not a cheat meal, I should say.
Yeah.
All right, so we got another one. We got Wincrete. Wincrete.
Yes.
Is that the official name of the business, Wincrete? Though.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. They got like that's all in the trailer and everything.
Yeah, these dudes are awesome.
They're great.
They're awesome, and they're fucking jacked.
They're just a bunch of ripped, cement pouring, handsome dudes.
Yeah, they are handsome dudes.
Yeah, like all of them too. I'm like every single one of you guys is good looking and you're ripped.
Yeah,
and tan as hell because you're in the sun all day.
You want to know something cool, man? Is like so. I don't know if I'm shoot. I won't say where it is because just in case. But this guy bought a bunch of stuff when I came across the Gold's Gym during COVID. Came and he bought a bunch of stuff off me, like. Good stuff, and he put it he made like basically a garage gym for his crew.
Yeah.
So they smash a workout and then they go and do man shit all day. Talk about this is the most manly thing you could do is like smash a workout with a bunch of dudes and then go lay cement all day.
Right, I know. It's just like I'm jealous.
So hit the question from in. I love this one. How a former cop turned gym owner and a woodworker have joined up. So how do we join up? Once upon a time, I saw this guy with a square jawline.
It's those chewable things.
No, I think maybe I should start this one because I'm the one who reached out to you first. You didn't. I don't think you had a clue who I was. I was just like a stalker. I'm glad this is the old you because you would have not. You're so busy on Instagram, you wouldn't even see my message. But I saw Mike on a YouTube video. I don't know if you'd shared a YouTube because I'm not a YouTube guy, but somehow I ended up on a YouTube video and I got caught up on this like trailer. or like series you were doing about cutting up this like staircase.
The Elephant in the Room project. Yeah.
That's
one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, you're cutting up this staircase, and coincidentally at the same time you were on another podcast, I think, in Lemon Souls.
Yeah.
Sierra, right?
Sierra. Yeah.
Sierra was who I was on her podcast right after you, I believe. And shout out to her. She does a great job. She's one of the first ones local that I ever heard of. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, you were done this, and I was like, oh man, this guy would be super cool to have on the podcast. And the podcast was brand new. I reached out, and you showed up, and we drank some vodka.
It's funny because like I don't think I've ever heard the backstory like that.
Oh really?
Yeah, because because it's weird because I knew who you were too, because like your activity in the community too, like with the gyms, and I think you guys were working. You were setting up stuff with all the gyms or something. Like
right.
I remember
one
seeing
of our big
you
charity
guys.
events.
And so I knew who you were when you reached out, but I didn't know you were watching the YouTube stuff before that. That's pretty cool. But the first time that we met at the other gym, I felt like we already knew a bit about each other. Like it was kind of just like, you know how you find these people online, like on Instagram and stuff. It's like you know a bunch about them before you even actually officially meet them.
Right.
That's kind of what it felt like to me. So it was like, so we just had a great conversation, like right off the hop. And what was that episode, like 10 or something?
Yeah, it was top 10. I want to say like 7 or 8. Like, we got 100 in this. Like this one, I think it gets released to be like 135.
Wow, man.
And
that's amazing.
Took almost 6 months off, like as we were getting moving studios and stuff, right? And kind of just honestly lost the inspo for this this podcast for a minute until like kind of like hit me. I think I was driving home from Florida, and you had messaged me, or I watched one of your Instagram videos, and I'm like, this is the guy that's got to be on there with me. And that's how we all kind of got started back up. And it took me a while to get you just so if you guys know, Mike sells things, but he is the hardest person to sell to.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Mike, you reached out to me after the podcast. Like, we didn't really stay in touch like we do now.
No.
Like now, even like we talk every week. Before the podcast even got started back up, we're constantly talking.
Yeah.
But you had reached out to me about Blast, and then I reached back, and then you're like, blah, 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 gone. And then he's that worm. Everybody who's sold, he got that. No, I'm the worm. He's the fish that you're dangling the worm around. And you're like, oh, he's on there. No, he's gone.
See ya.
You pop back in my DMs. And then finally you just came back on. You're like, I'm in. Forget it. I'm in.
Yeah.
And then, dude, once you shot those guns and like ran around the woods with all those dudes and like and did the, that's how I get everybody there. But really, it's for the mental breakthroughs, I think. Like you can talk to. But once you got that, you were hooked, and like we just kept chatting all the time, which is an awesome thing too about Blast, man. People come there to kind of learn from me, but really, I become friends with everybody there, and I learn just as much the other way.
The Blast Camp was amazing for sure. But yeah, like I know I'm a hard sell, man. Even Lisa now, she's like, good luck. You want Mike to buy something? Good luck. Just good luck. Mike doesn't buy. I don't buy anything. All I want to do is buy buildings and like make furniture things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so like I've been very strict. I've been very strict with like my income and stuff. Like growing up, like not really growing up. Sorry. Like after 22 and up, I was like very strict with it. Like very frugal, I guess you could say, doing what I could to like get ahead. And I feel like now, looking at what I've built now, it's kind of crazy to see it take a step back, and I'm actually glad that I did it. To be honest, my buddy Brody and I were talking about this the other day, because he's building a huge business right now, which is amazing. Maybe we should get him on here. But he was like, I now understand what you were doing when we were in our 20s. He's like, I have no time for he's like I only see you because I buy from him too, right? Like we're friends, but we're still supporting each other. He's like, I don't hang out with anybody. He's like, I hardly see my girlfriend. And he's like, and I was like, dude, this is what I dealt with I just did this for 10 years straight. Like I've been doing this for 10 years. And he's like, I finally understand it. And it's crazy to see how much flack you get from everyone else when you're like all in. When you're all in on something, so much so where you got the blinders on and like nobody can sell you anything because it's like that might take off from my vision. That's what it was. And it took a little bit of time for me to figure out that like Blast Camp is going to help my vision, right? But that's the reason why I've always been so hard. Like I've been a hard sell, because it's like, this is where I'm going right here. Like I'm going this direction because I want this. You over here taking, like, even if I need this thing, it's not going to help me get there. So I'm like, I'm over it. So I kind of keep it away.
Eyes on the prize. And the same thing, I didn't sell you, like I don't pay you to come on this podcast by any means, but you like selling you to commit the time to this.
Yeah.
I had to find the right deal, which was the one we just talked about. I was like, well, you got to get out of the office anyway. Why don't you come here every Wednesday? And you're like, and then, you know, and now like, but then once you are in on something, you're all in. And I mean, I saw the same thing with you and Lisa and us going up to Collingwood. And that's, I think that's where we really like kind of like bonded outside of like just like went more from like a mentorship into like a true friendship.
It's 100%.
You know, was up when we hung out in Collingwood and I helped you fall in love.
Yeah, you did by the fireplace, dude. It's funny because every I have a video. So we have this like picture frame thing that sits on our end table, and it's like a picture frame, but we have videos playing. So it's all these videos playing, like all the cool stuff that we've done over the years back at home, and like there's a video of you and I at Collingwood just dancing, and it's hilarious, bro. Every time I've seen it 1,000 times, and every time I see it I still laugh because we're just going nuts. It's like 3 a.m. we're doing karaoke, like it's hilarious.
Amazing. That was a great trip, except that's when I first got the vid for the first time. I had to drive all you guys home. I was dying, and I was like, man, this is like a 2-day hangover. How could this be?
Yeah.
It turned out that I was sick as can be, man. Yeah. Anyways, thank you, Dennis, for the question, man. We appreciate you. We appreciate the support. You're always big on kind of supporting the stuff that I do, and now I come to find out, Mike, it's such a small world, the Windsor, and I think like a lot of the dudes who are really doing good things seem to somehow find each other and connect. So yeah, man, we'd love to get you on the podcast if you're listening. Who else we got here? All right, we got one from Courtney. Courtney used to come here. I think she lives up the highway somewhere in Godrich, maybe now. She had a question of. Let's hit this one. She had a couple here, but let's go. One of them, Court, we're going to do on a whole podcast with more people. But like she said, what about the art of communication? Something more about your posts and letting shit go. I'm not sure what post exactly she was talking about.
Maybe that camping one. Not the cigar one, probably.
The cigar one, the Instagram stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that post, for those who didn't see it, if you hadn't seen it, you know what? First of all, Mike and I do a terrible job of plugging our own stuff here. So first of all, if you don't follow Mike's business or his personal account, do it, please. But the business, Reclaim Artistry.
Yeah.
We did mention it last week because I was like, I laughed how I always say it, like how I read it on Instagram. Like it's not like it's 2 words. It's like Reclaim Artistry, right?
Yeah, you got to like mumble through it.
You know, and follow me, Tony. Tango1 _ anyways, but I did a post and got a lot of like feedback from it. And it was just like something about, I saw something online. I didn't agree with it. I didn't get mad, didn't let it ruin my day, and I'm still friends with the person who wrote it, right? And I think, man, like that is a for real struggle, and I'll tell you, that is something I have struggled with in real time, real life, being a gym owner and having other gym owners and following them. I've said it outright to people, like I've muted, friends because I was getting too irate, whether it's through COVID things or maybe somebody's doing something in the gym, competitive gym, and it was letting it bother me. I've got a way better job of that and being able to separate that. As of late.
Yeah. Like I think it's like a maturity thing too. Like you have to grow into it. You have to first I know there's another question and they're talking about EQ, like emotional intelligence. Like you have to first, one of the 4 pillars of emotional intelligence is like self-awareness. You have to first understand that something like this out of your control is actually causing you to get fired up. Like your blood starts boiling, the hair raises on your back. You have to first understand what that is. Like that's a response to something. And it's like the second you understand that, you can then correct that. So like the whole communication thing, like sometimes you just have to shut it down. You have to, or you can just accept it. Like you said, you just I saw it, it bugged me, I just let it go and just just dropped it and went on with your day, man. Like didn't change your life. You didn't feel the need to respond and tear them up or rip them a new one. It's just just leave it be. Like let that dude do his own thing. I'm over here doing my own.
Right, and sometimes the platform of Instagram or Facebook's not the proper way to do it. Shooting somebody a DM, and even so, saying hey, can we chat about this? I'd love to know more about why you think that way, rather than making. And sometimes I feel like a comment gets put on there, and it's also maybe not the way it was intended. But that's one of the things. It's I heard somebody say this before, and I use it all the time. It's don't hear what I didn't say.
Right.
I just did a post about the boys that I want the boys to punch bullies in the face.
Right.
I didn't say I want the boys to just walk up to anybody and punch them in the face because they think it's a bully, right? Like, if I say that my boys should be strong, confident, I did not say that your daughter should not be.
Right.
Right. I tell my one son, you know, I say this to them, like, hey, you look so handsome today, man. I love your outfit. Or you're so fast. You're getting taller. I'm not saying to the other son that, hey, I hate what you're wearing. You're slow and you're short. You know, like, right. Just because I'm complimenting or making an observation in one way doesn't mean I think something else. Like, and I think that's what happens a lot online is people are hearing what was not said.
I've never heard anybody say that. Like don't hear what I did not say, or don't hear what I didn't say.
Right, like the aggressively masculine was one of the ones where I'm like, hey, listen, I did not say a woman should or should not be any of those things. At one, it's not my place. Right. I know what I admire in a woman. I can say that, no problem, right? But I can't say what a woman should or shouldn't be. I'm just saying what I believe a man should represent with the masculinity side of things, and like that's what I'm saying. I'm not taking away, and we could go on to that for hours, but I'm not taking away from you, right? Just because I say like, hey, so and so's a great carpenter, I'm not saying you're a shitty one. Right. Just complimenting somebody else. Right. Yeah. Damn. Wow. That's just like mind blowing me over here. That's crazy, man. I've never heard that, and like. Lisa the other day, Jordan Peterson, we've talked about Jordan Peterson. Like Lisa really likes Jordan Peterson stuff, so she's always kind of posting it and whatnot. And there's this one guy that's constantly like up in her DMs, or not in her DMs, like commenting posts, just ridiculous posts. Better not be up in her DMs. Yeah. Yeah, better not. Sandwich. Don't get any ideas. But this guy was like just commenting all this ridiculous things, saying all this crazy stuff about Jordan Peterson. It's like, and I've actually done the same thing. I've posted one thing, I think, a while ago about Jordan Peterson. He was talking about you need to be dangerous. Like, we need to be dangerous people. And so many people got so offended by it. And I'm like, you guys are missing the point here. He's not saying just go out and just be violent and hurt a bunch of people. It's like, don't say what I didn't say, or don't hear what I didn't say. Like, that's a really cool way to put it, because that's not what he was saying. He was saying you need to be dangerous so that you can protect. Right. And like that's what he was saying in that thing. But yeah, man, and what you're saying there, and this is kind of off the topic of what the question was asked, but it's a great topic, I think. And it was in my bully post yesterday with my sons, is like one, my sons also need to know that if they put their hands on somebody, they better be prepared to get punched in the face. Rightfully so. Right? Like if you put your hands on somebody, you have now gone all in. Yeah. And if the repercussion of that is a punch in the nose, it's a punch in the nose, right? Like, so understand that part. Like, that's also part of it. But I feel like a lot of the problems, the bullying that happens in schools, the crime that's going rampant that we went so much on the other time, is because there's no fear of repercussion. Yeah. The fact that anybody online, that's why people can say whatever the hell they want to say online to you, is because there's no worry. When the fear of violence is not there is no minding of the tongue. And that's not to say that people shouldn't say what's on their mind, but it does tie back to what the question, because the question was about communication. So if there's no threat of violence, you can just say things however the fuck you want to, right? When really, you should mind what you're saying. You should say it in a respectful, not that you have to agree. You have to be respectful. And that you shouldn't say what's on your mind. Say it in a respectful way. Yeah. Right? And that forces people to think. That forces emotional intelligence, right? Yeah. When you can just blurt out whatever the hell you want and quote something that you've never even been involved with, like, that's wrong. And I think that communication is like the way you go about communicating. Like I said, like, much more effective for that person who have sent you a DM and be like, oh, you know what? I don't know if I really agree with what you said there, but I'd like to understand more of what you're saying. Because maybe at the end of the day, maybe we do totally agree. Right, and but people don't do that. Right, like that guy that was commenting on Lisa's stuff. Like, she was like, I don't understand what you're saying. I don't understand why you feel this way. She was like, can you elaborate? He kept deleting her post or whatever. Somehow her post kept getting deleted, and she was like, can you just send me a DM so we can talk about this? And then he deleted all his comments and then blocked her. And it's like, in real life, you would have never been able to do that. You would have never said anything in the first place, and like, I'm still a person over here. Like, whether you agree with me or not, like, I'm still a person. I'm going to respect what you're going to say. You should probably respect what I'm going to say. You don't have to agree with it, but let me speak.
I don't agree with a lot of people that are saying a lot of things in the world right now, especially within the political landscape that we're in. But I still respect the fact that free speech is free speech. And if I want it, they've got to have it too. And I'm totally fine with that. You guys are going to have it. So can I. So I can say what I want to say. You can say what you want to say. Neither of us have to agree. But I have to respect the fact that you're going to have it because I want it too. And this is like what makes the world go round, in my opinion.
Right. And if it is so scorching to you, so causes so much, like one, it is something most likely within you. But also if that is the case, there's no point in me having this discussion with you because what is going to come of it?
Right.
If I'm so angry by what you said, there's going to be nothing positive come of that conversation. So maybe blocking, maybe ending that relationship is
true.
Maybe a proper way to go about it. But you need to evaluate that. Well, why am I so riled up? Why am I so riled up? Does this really matter in my whole scheme of things? And during COVID, a lot of that stuff was happening, and you talk about the politics, and that was actually another question. So it's a perfect time to roll into that. Was how can people of different political points of view remain friends? I can tell you that I have a Cal, who's one of my closest friends, childhood friends. Him and I could not be more different in the terms of our political opinions.
Yeah.
And to the point where it has gotten so heated that I've had to leave because the threat of violence was becoming real from my end to him. But man, I will say that him in particular, we can both still be okay. And he's better at it than me. He is calmer than me. We can both be okay with that differences and still sit down and go for a cigar and hang out and still enjoy our families together, knowing that. And there's some times where we're we start to get into it, and both of us will acknowledge, hey man, let's stay away from that tonight. Is that really important? Is it something that's really important in your life, or is this just an opinion you want to share?
Right.
Is it something you really need to tell me?
Yeah.
If it's not, then let's maybe leave it alone for today and choose to go that route.
Yeah.
So definitely you can remain friends.
It's a sign of maturity. You can feel it. You can understand that you don't agree with the person and still decide to carry something on. That is next level. Your emotional intelligence is higher because of that. And the cool thing about emotional intelligence too is, unlike IQ, your IQ can't get better. So people like you and I, we're screwed. But EQ, we can improve our EQ. That's actually, it's a skill that you can learn and you can improve, which is really cool because if you have a low EQ score now, the more you're aware and the more you learn about it, you can actually increase your EQ level. And with leaders, it's very important to be doing that. We're both leaders. We both lead teams. You've got a family, this is, you have to get better at doing that because it's not always sunshine and rainbows. You're going to have people that you're going to have to disagree with. You're going to have people that you're going to have to stand up for. And it might be all based off of someone's opinion on something. You have to be able to put that away and be how do we move through this? For example, families, my siblings, we fight every now and then. And it's I'm more interested in getting through this than proving that I'm right. I don't care to be right. I don't think that so Lisa and I have this thing that we say to each other when we're arguing about something, which is not very often, but it does happen. We're not superheroes, right? So we say this thing that if I win, we both lose, and if you win, we both lose, right? Because you can't win in a relationship, especially someone like that, wife, girlfriend, whatever. If you win the argument, you lost as a couple because you're not working through things. Somebody has to be able to put their opinion, their pride, their ego aside to be able to work through things as a couple or as a family member, as siblings, as whatever, parents. You have to be able to learn how to put that aside, because working through this and getting through this together is more important than your ego. I don't care what the situation is. Right? Siblings fight over everything, sometimes ridiculous things. And it's is this worth never talking to each other again? Absolutely not. I value our relationship too much to just put this on the shelf and be I'm done with you because I should be right. That's weak and it's immature.
Yeah, no, that's an awesome way to put it. With especially with the wife and the relationships, and parents during COVID, I know that I did not have the same opinion of some of the things that were going on, and probably said some things that I'm sure infuriated my father in particular, right? And I know he said some things that infuriated me, but like, at the end of the day, like it was like, okay, he feels that way.
Yeah.
And does this really matter? Does this really impact our love for each other? Like, no, it's not that important.
Yeah.
It's not that important if he wants to put that in his body and I don't.
Right.
Like at the end of the day, like we still saw each other all the time, and like, but being able to like actually breathe through that, and that I think that comes through maturity.
100%.
You know, like, you know, boyhood to manhood. Like, you know, there's that. You know, you start as the warrior, right? Then you become like a little bit of the Lion King, and then you become, you know, the monk as you age, right? There's like the young warrior always out there fighting, the king who's kind of like overlooking, using the wisdom, and then, you know, but still in the battle, and then the monk who's just, you know, more at peace and okay with everything. It's kind of like 3 stages.
That's super cool.
Again, butchered that analogy and couldn't tell you which book. That's one of the problems with all these freaking books I read. I don't know how these people like do like in their head have this like glossary of everything they've read.
I don't know.
I've read so many things, but I can't remember which book, I have no idea who sang what song. Like, I'm the worst for this.
You and I have very much the same, that especially when we're reciting like a quote from somebody. It's like, some guy on the internet.
Yeah, I was talking about the Michael Easter book on the last one, and I said about the tribe that's somewhere in the islands or something. I pretty much made that up. I just know it was a small community of people. You know,
the important
I'm like listening to the podcast, and the editor guy put like this tribe that looks like it's like sitting by a fire in Africa, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's not what I meant, but like like that's what I said, right? Which is also like how like you're hearing what like it just shows, because that guy who's sitting on his computer 8 hours, 20 hours away from here, listening to me tell this story, that is a perfect, and actually that little video, and I'll show it to you later, is a perfect indication of how I say something. You hear it, you process it, and then you put it back out, and he put it back out through video on what, you know, I said basically, right? And it was awesome. The video is great.
It's like out of context.
This guy's killing it, but yeah, it's just what how it's being heard, which is hilarious, right? And like really shows like take your time, say things as clearly as you can, especially when they really matter.
Yeah, that's hard sometimes though.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you use the 24-hour rule? I'm a big breathe it out. Like I do say things. I try to like finish. I like to like say things like, hey, let's like handle this before we leave. Danny and I try not to go to bed mad. Yeah. You know, but like 24 hours sometimes is best.
Yeah, if you can. I mean, like I think every situation. I think like 24-hour rule, like, you know, taking a breather, going to the other room, like, you know, having your space, whatever it is, you have to understand you're on the same team. It's like you can't win by beating your team members. You can, in a sports team, in a relationship, in a business, you can't win by beating your team members. You can't. So once you understand that, it's like, okay, how do we work together to move through whatever we're dealing with? Because if you're upset, I need to understand why. If I need to stop doing something, I need to do that out of my own, like, for us. Not even if it's hitting my ego or, you know, hitting my pride a little bit. That's something that I have to. I need to be willing to put that away for us to win.
Right. So what you're saying there, like, too, and there's the book Chris Voss. I finally remember one, right? The negotiations book that has become so popular. But me, I've trained as a crisis negotiator, right? Yeah. Actually got my certification on May 5th, about an hour before I got the call for John Atkinson being killed. Wow. So that we're May 1st today, right? So it's like in a few days from now, I would have got that accreditation, like 15 something years ago. Anyways, hostage negotiations. You know, and I've been on balconies with people. I've been where people are holding the knives to their throats. I've been in these things. The first thing you're doing is exactly what you just said. It's like, it's not a versus. It's not me versus you. No. This guy is on my team. This woman is on my team, whoever I'm negotiating with, and we need to come to a common ground. Yeah. Which is a peaceful resolution.
What a superpower that is,
peaceful resolution, right? Like that's what you're doing while you're making a sale, when you're, speaking with your children. Like you need to like, going into that room as if you're going into battle, right, is the wrong outlook to take, because it's not going to work. It forces people to put their guard up, in particular alpha people, in particular people who are emotionally charged, like a situation like I'm describing, or like emotionally charged. Like I talk about this before with you. I've said this, I'm sure, but like your peak, like we laugh, like there's school teachers in here, right? And I say like, oh, they're so stressed out about the report cards, right? And it's like, but then you've got a cop across the rig working out who was just like at literally a dead baby that day.
Yeah.
But like peak stress for the day, peak stress for the life, it feels the same. They can't differentiate because like it depends on what you've experienced. Not to say that school teacher hasn't experienced worse. I'm just using that as like a really like blunt example, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, like that. So when you're going in and somebody is emotionally charged, and that you might think it's stupid. You might think that, oh my God, what are they so upset about? But that's the peak of whatever they've experienced, and that's where they're at.
Yeah.
So like them here and you here, regardless of like how like dangerous that situation might seem or circumstantial, it is the same.
Yeah.
So understanding that and dealing with it as a team, just like you said.
Right. Yeah. Because if like going back to what you were saying, like if you go into that ready for battle in any argument or any conversation, ready for battle, you're going to lose. Oh, like I mean, when it comes to like relationships, teams, and all that stuff, right? Like if I go to talk to one of my employees and I'm ready for battle, we lose.
Yeah.
The same with the relationship. If I go in there ready to win the war, we lose. You cannot win. You have to win as a team, and to do that, you have to be able to put some of your things aside and work through it together, which has been such a different learning curve from like past relationships that I've had to where Lisa and I now are at now. I can see it before it happens. So it's like, okay, hold on. Where are we going with this? And I might even be the problem. So I might be like, okay, give me a minute. I got to chill out for a second because we got to work through this now because I made a mess. Now I got to clean it and we're going to do it together kind of thing. Like, win together, learn together.
Yeah. And less text, the better.
Yeah, no text messages.
Yeah. I think like something to add to the whole communication that people might not consider that it's like part of like my old life, and I use it here all the time, is like the communication that's nonverbal. So when I'm having a meeting, and I used to use this with the SWAT team all the time, when I was having a meeting and I needed the team to be very on board, I needed to maybe break some bad news to them about like, hey, we're getting screwed over. We're not going to get paid overtime for this, but I need you guys, right? That kind of shit. We had a big long table, kind of like the old studio had, the old podcast studio. And I would sit in the middle of that table, right? During like lunch, during dinner, when we'd be breaking bread, I'd sit in the middle of that table, very on purpose, right? I read a book about Winston Churchill and how he used to do these things. And some different tactics Winston Churchill used, and talk about a leader, like whether he's a good leader, bad leader is a different thing, but a leader's a leader,
right.
good or bad.
Oh, okay.
Right. So listening to some of these things and reading some of that and thinking like, wow, that really makes sense. In times where I had to have the authority, like delivering a plan, this is what's going to happen, I'd be standing up most likely at the end of that table, right?
Yeah.
Speaking, delivering the plan, like both logistically, but also for the other kind of communications. And, speaking with kids, one of the first things we would do on raids, drop down as low as you can get, take your mask off. Like how you're communicating also has a great deal of effect, right? Like if we want to sell a client who comes in here on a trial, we do it right over there in those two chairs where it's very like unintimidating. You can see into the gym where people are having fun, right? But you're in a very comfortable position. Like how you place yourself for that communication. Like you asked me for advice once, and I said, hey, go out for coffee with them.
Yeah.
Right. Get out of that shop.
Yeah.
Get out of that shop where they see you as Mike the boss.
Yeah.
Because you do hang out with these guys as your friends.
Yeah.
Go hang out as Mike the friend and figure out what's going on with them.
Right.
So there's a lot more that goes into communication than the words you speak.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the clothes you wear, like I got to come in here Friday. We're having a little bit of a disciplinary issue with like one of the youth groups that we work with.
Okay.
I am coming in here Friday. I'm gonna have no sleeves on. I'm gonna have my hat on backwards, and I'm gonna be standing and making them sit. And it's gonna be a very much of, this is my place. I am the boss, and you'll do what I say.
Yeah.
Right. There's much intent behind that, right? But also understanding that if that was not my intent, and I'm trying to get all these kids to not be fearful of me, I'd be blowing it by putting them in, all of them sitting down, me standing up with muscles and tattoos.
Right.
Yeah. This is so much to think about.
It's definitely different because and I know we've talked about this too, working together like in the with like the leadership stuff that we did together too. Like Lisa describes it as my dark storm cloud over my head. Like if I'm pissed about something, everybody knows about it, whether I said it a single word or not.
Oh yeah, dude. 3 weeks ago when you came in here, you were like, Danny says to me when I get home, she's like, "What's the mic today? He just didn't seem right." And I'm like, but you're always laughing and smiling, but it's like it's not the same laugh and smile.
There's like a short circuit that happens in there sometimes. But that's been such a crazy thing to work through, man. Like trying to figure out what I'm saying without even opening my mouth. My body, my physical communication is like it's always doing something, even if I'm unaware of it. So like learning how to kind of prevent it or to make it more intentional, like you're saying, is a crazy superpower in my opinion. Once you know it, you can control it. But if you don't know it, which before I was completely oblivious to it, all of a sudden it's like, I walk in, now my whole shop's hostile. Everybody's pissed because Mike came in pissed, and walk in and like yelling, and like when I don't do it like that as much anymore, but yeah, I try not to. I'm more aware of it now. But I used to walk in sometimes like just pissed at the world or pissed at whatever the case may be. Things aren't getting done the way I want them, whatever it is. And like, it tears the team down a little bit. And it's not good. It's like, how do we build off that? And I think just realizing that I'm doing it is the first step of being able to fix it or prevent it from happening. But it's still like yesterday, Lisa was like, you got dark storm over your head, a dark storm cloud over your head. What's going on? And I'm like, don't even ask me that. like, I'm not in the mood to even have this conversation, but like let's work through it. She's like, it's still there. And I'm like, God, like I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to deal with it. Just let me leave me be in this thing. But like, I'm trying to have time with her because I only get to see her a couple of times. I only get to see her for a short amount of time at night. So it's like, but she's not getting all of me because that storm cloud is there, whether I want to admit it or not. Whether I decide to put it away, quote unquote, put it away, right. It's still there. So it's like it's the energy and the physical communication that you have, whether you understand it or not.
So true, man. So true.
Crazy. I did like using it intentionally like that is such a power move. I feel like I understood that a little bit when I read Art of War. You told me to read Art of War, and I think there's a little bit of that in there, kind of. I don't know. What do you think about it?
I mean, yes, I agree absolutely. I think that everybody is like, your greatest strength is probably, I think I said this with Omar last week, is like your greatest strength is your Achilles heel.
Yes.
It's the easiest way to defeat you. Right. And your strength is your passion, your emotion, how much you put into how much love you put into your people, to your business, to your, to your relationships in general.
Right.
To your friendships.
Right.
Right. And which is the greatest, probably easiest way to hurt you as well. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Damn.
Because you care so much and shit gets you upset. I mean, I'm the same. I am exactly the same.
Yeah.
I think I'm doing a much better job of that these days. It's another reason why I got off the bottle, because the bottle really heightened those peaks for me.
Yeah.
Right?
Fair enough. Yeah.
Which is going to make me a little bit more I was never a mean drunk, a happy, always the happiest drunk, always.
Yeah.
Right. But the days after would be low peaks, right? Or low valleys. So part of that. So that's the easiest way to get in is are you somebody who's really trusting? Are you somebody who's, think about that and then think about, okay, how our Art of War is, okay, where would I attack me?
Right.
Right. That's how we're looking. When we set up a perimeter on a SWAT call, what I'm looking is, okay, if I was going to run out of this building, where would I go? Where's the weakest point?
Right.
And then look to strengthen that. And then now where's the next one? As more guys arrive, more resources arrive, I'm putting more borders up, more barriers up, and trying to choke out all those exit strategies, right?
Crazy.
So with you as a person, where is that? Where are you going to get me? How are you going to get me? How would I take myself down? And it's like that by being for you, so distraught over some result that didn't go your way.
Yeah.
Because you put so much into it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
That you come in and you tear somebody's head off who
didn't deserve it.
Smacking a dog. Forever that dog's going to remember that you smacked them.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm sure you wouldn't smack the guys in the shop. But
yeah.
Fucking Tristan, I would.
Yeah.
Right.
That's funny. Yeah, that's crazy to say it like that. Like the Achilles heel.
Yeah.
It's so obvious now when I think about it. Just in my own life, like what it's like, caring so much about something. It's like that's the first part. And when it didn't, like when my plans weren't going as planned because of things that were changing in the shop, I felt it. I was like, I got flicked in the Achilles heel a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't crumble, but I was pissed again. I'm like, why am I? What's going on right now? Like, my plan has to change now.
It's your Achilles heel and your G spot all at once. Depends what side you rub, what side you flick. Oh man, this has been an outstanding episode. I hope you guys are loving it. We got motherfucking leg day right now.
Oh boy,
you ready? How would you feel after last week?
I didn't think it was brutal, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. I was expecting to be, like my foot trembling on the gas pedal getting home, but it was all right actually.
We're going up this week though. So the way it works here at the garage gym for like our group programming is Austin designs it. It's like it would be like a macro cycle, but like within that, there's little micro cycles of 2-week stints, right? 2 weeks we find is a sweet spot to get results, but also keep people bought in.
Yeah.
If we do it 3 weeks in a row, the same programming, people start to lose, they get bored. That's all.
Yeah.
Will it work? Fuck yeah, it will work. But they're getting bored. So if they're bored, it won't work. So anyways, week 1, like we did last week, is generally like, it'll be a little bit, we call it reps in reserve. So it just means that your intensity, like reps in reserve is like when we did 10, you should be able to do, if reps in reserve was 3, you should be able to do 3 more comfortably, right?
Right.
Without like breaking down a form. Today it's reps in reserve is 1, which means that basically we're taking it just to the edge of like form's going to break down. So we're going to go a little bit heavier. But I mean, you did great last week.
I freaking love leg day.
Yeah,
I love it, but I'm like, I'm a big baby 2 days later. Like, I'm like, you know what's crazy? I don't know if this is normal, if you've seen this or not, but like 2 days after leg day, like I swear it's something in my brain, like there's a brain chemical or something that's changed. I'm like, hard. No, but it's not that. No,
okay, that's me. That's just me. Sorry.
No, yeah, sorry. your brain chemicals doing something else. But I feel like I'm more agitated than normal.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like,
testosterone's up, dude.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Because I'm like.
I mean, I don't know. I'm no scientist, but I'm gonna say my bro science tells me yes.
That's what it is, eh? Because
right?
I'm like, because everything, I feel like everything I've been talking.
Well, when
about,
you leave here, the environment in here last week was electric.
Amazing.
The 4 o'clock class here is electric always. It's got some dudes hammered down. It's got a few people with the blast coin are in this class too, right? It always adds to it. But yeah, when you we were talking about crisis negotiations. So when you that adrenaline dump, I remember we did this one. We're up on a balcony. I was up there 12, 15 hours, man. 24th floor, downtown Windsor, right off Park Street. And after we decide, against actually orders, that's a whole other story, decide that we're going to make a run to grab this chick who's she's not on, we got her onto the good side of the railing. She was on the bad side of the railing. We got her onto the good side of the railing. We couldn't get her in. And we decide that once she lifts her hands she was holding the railing, if she lifted her hands and we were able to distract her, to look away, whichever one of us she looked at, the other one was going to grab her. And then the team was going to, who were on ropes, right? Rappel ropes, was going to grab me, which turned out to be. So yeah, she pulls her hands off the railing. I sprint, grab her. Team grabs me, pull me back into the apartment. Boom, case closed. We got her, right? Saved. 12 hours of for that eighth of a second of adrenaline, probably, right?
Yeah.
But then what I'm saying is when you go home, that spike, maybe not testosterone, but the cortisol, the whatever that is, pumped through your veins. You go home and it's look out, I'm coming home like a wrecking ball, baby. That's what it is. The leg day's the same thing. It's you get that you're oh, right, and that's that's fight or fuck, for lack of a better word. That's what dudes feel when you get a really good lift in. That's what I feel, at least, right?
Yeah.
Or eat. or eat.
I'm more the eat guy, I guess.
Yeah. Finish the fight, fuck, then eat. Right?
Yeah. That's funny.
So yeah, I think that's what you feel.
Story, dude.
Yeah, anyway, I think this is a great episode. This is awesome chatting with you. I love these customer ones, or these these listener driven episodes. I feel like it just gives us some good topics to chat about, and really looking forward. We got some good guests coming up. We got Seamus coming up next week. We got to get your friend on from Urban Surf. We got to hit them up. We got a few other people. So you guys have any good guests you like, please hit us up. please shoot us DMs. And you know what? We are leaning all into this podcast, if you can't tell. So please, we never ask for this stuff. Like, give us a 5-star review or whatever that is. Subscribe to the podcast. That shit really, really helps us. And we appreciate it so much. It's how like little guys like Mike and I in the whole business can keep up with people who have endless dollars to throw at marketing.
Yeah, just share it with your friends. Like that would help us a ton.
Yeah.
Share it.
Absolutely. So over and out. Great episode. Thank you guys.
Thank you.